All right, moving on now to the next game. It is Direwolves v.
Oh, there's only 2 of them. Thank
No,
God.
we'll go through more later.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
leaving.
you've strategically dodged your own little horoscope there.
Mine's nothing but sunshine and brightness, baby. No, we'll do more later on throughout the show. We can burn all
fair
that good Lunar content straight away.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
good content. I'm in real danger of doing that.
Direwolves versus Bombers. Speaking of good content, we may or may not see it. If you want to watch this on osh.lolesports.com, you can get sick rewards in game. You get icons, you get XP, you get blue essence,
You get emotes.
you get emotes, and you get that warm fuzzy feeling inside that you did something good for the OPL.
That feels good.
Doesn't that feel good?
That does feel good. Also feeling good, the Direwolves, picked up their first victory of the OPL 2019 season last week versus Mammoth in a fairly lengthy game. I feel like Direwolves, this may be the season of Direwolves lengthy games, but it feels like they are looking, out of all the bottom teams, they're playing the most consistent, and it's slow growth, and that looks good. Can they get another upset against the Bombers here today? Certainly a tough ask. They have looked like one of the best teams, but certainly possible.
And even without just taking the win into account, right? They had another 55-minute game versus Order last week, and they pushed Order to the very brink. And I think that the good thing about the Direwolves right now is they're not making mistakes the other bottom teams are making. They don't make as many mistakes, and that's why the games seem to drag on. Because if you're a top team right now playing against a team that you feel like you should beat, you should be taking the 1 or 2% plays to just, be able to close the game out cleanly. And Direwolves don't give you many of those. So then the game gets progressively riskier. And they got down to 1 team fight versus Mammoth where they were able to get the Baron and then therefore build a big lead. And against Order, they looked like they had made that mistake when they nearly picked Dream. They won the team fight, nearly picked Dream in the mid lane. And it was only a great play from Dream and Jake that probably saved that game. Otherwise, they would have had their first 2-0 weekend.
Because stylistically, that's kind of cool to talk about from the Direwolves, right? As a better team facing off, you don't want to take risks. And then once you do get those small little advantages, it snowballs very quickly. And so Direwolves are just happy to do nothing. In their victory, they had triple Elder Drake and 2 Baron. Nobody is going to argue that is a clean closeout. That is a very strong victory. But they can hold in for a very long time, and they're willing to just drag out the game to where these top teams, I feel like against the other bottom teams, they've smacked them around in 20 minutes. That was almost a shellacking, as Jake would say, in the last game we just saw. But Direwolves, they don't play to that length. They play to double that length, and then the game is very different.
And I would argue, if there is a team you can't do that against, it's probably the Bombers. Because somehow, and I actually think Andrew, so I will preface this with Andrew and Corporal are better than I thought they were. They are a good bottom lane. In saying that, you're about to play against FBI and Rogue with Balkan as the jungler, and they have shown a propensity already, with the exception of the Chiefs game, to be able to just get their team out of any situation. And I think that they are such a dangerous bottom lane. They will make the play that Order and Mammoth weren't willing to make. They showed it against Order. The Chiefs were the only team that has stitched up their bottom lane so far, and Rays had probably the best 80 carry performance I think we've seen this year so far. I think FBI will not let it happen this game.
You guys seen that movie, The Grey?
No.
Nah. Oh, no, yes.
There's a lot of wolves in that. They're trying to kill Liam Neeson. And the whole point is they're very patient.
Have I seen that?
So maybe it does make sense that the
It's real snowy and stuff.
Yeah.
Does he sleep in a bear carcass? Or is this... Wait, Liam Neeson?
That's Star Wars.
No, completely
That
different
is Star Wars.
My point is,
No,
It's not a bear carcass and Chewbacca. No, anyway, go on.
Someone else who is patient, it's Get Back, but he's not that patient, and he wants you to watch him in his POV stream. It's on our Twitter page at OPL. You can check out Get Back's POV stream for this game right there. And something else you can check out. It is Unlucky Rusty and Something Pyra.
Something Pyra.
I'm a lodestone.
You're a load-bearing stone, actually. It's
Sorry.
completely different. Completely different stuff. But I think there's going to be a lot of load borne by the Direwolves this game because they'll probably stall till another 50 minutes. That's my prediction.
If they have their way, I feel like that would be the type of game Direwolves will be very comfortable doing, right? Again, it's about having that consistency, just trying to close the game out as cleanly as they can and not take risks. And being such a young team, having to learn how to play League of Legends at the highest level on the fly together does slow game pace down a little bit like that. There are things that you don't always know or don't always do that are habitual as you play more and more and have experience. So again, that's when Direwolves have a lead. They're against the Bombers in this game, so getting a lead is the first big task that you would have to say for certain.
Talk about a hurdle, yeah. This is going to be tough. I feel like the way Direwolves have been playing, picking up their first win last week and getting very close to another one against Chiefs, of all teams, seeing them kind of get to this point, I feel like if they were up against anyone but Bombers, they would I might have even picked him spicy tips-wise, but I didn't feel confident in it this time around.
Why am I
So,
the only spicy one, Pyro?
you know,
Why am I
well,
the only one?
I mean, I've been eating Wheat Bix instead of spicy
Oh, that's
peppers,
true.
so, you know, maybe I
medical
need to mix it up
reasons.
for next week. But talk about these bans. This looks like it's fairly normal. The Thresh does get banned away from Rogue, but the rest of it, this is all what we've seen occupying the ban column pretty consistently. Lissandra, Aatrox, Silas, and the Cassiopeia.
Lucian and Urgot still up and available, so we'll see which one the Bombers perhaps go towards, or maybe neither, because they're comfortable trading. And it's going to be the Akali this time. With Lissandra gone, one of the easiest, flexible first picks that is really hard to lose lane with has been taken away, so Lucian does actually potentially crop up, though I would prefer their Urgot as a choice.
The Akali being banned away. We still are on patch 9.2. Changes not coming through just yet, not until next week anyways. So, Biopanther gets to lock in a Lucian. That leaves the Urgot up and available for Mimic.
Yeah, and with that Urgot, we'll see where they go. If it's a support, Thresh has been taken away, so it could actually just be an AD carry. FBI is the type of player that might go the Kai'Sa, but they're not going to do that this time. They're going to lock in the Tahm Kench very early, Pyro. They've gone for a defensive support.
Yeah.
Direwolves could very easily just lock in the Braum here and be comfortable with whatever the matchup is.
Should be a no-brainer for sure. You got me really confused for a second because you had no pause there, unlike what Bailey is taking at the moment, between Urgot and support, and I'm like, Urgot support? What? I got really confused.
Not this time.
No, definitely
Everyone's
not
got
happening.
limits. Urgot does have his limits in the support role.
But yeah, okay, so we've got a Scion locked in. This seems like a fairly stock standard comfort comp for most OPL teams that the Direwolves have crafted.
Oh, absolutely.
Bombers are going very defensive. If they finish locking in this Ezreal, yeah, I was about to say, you can put a cannon in the Tahm Kench belly, and it looks like FBI will get his hands on the Kai'Sa.
The only gripe that I really do have with this is, why would you not pick the Kai'Sa second with the Urgot? You know, why not put them in the same rotation and not show that it's a Tahm Kench that Braum will get insta-locked into? Corporal may even consider an Alistar then to deny a Kai'Sa Ali combo, and lanes could be different. And I'm not saying that the lane that the Bombers are in is strictly bad. I am just saying that Braum is good into Tahm Kench, and that may actually change his starting summoner spells potentially as well for the state of the level 1. And that does influence the lane at least a little bit.
Yeah, curious choice by Bombers. We're into ban phase 2 now, and the Zac is out. Will we see more jungle focus? No, it's going to be mid lane. Direwolves opt to ban out the Zoe against Ryoma.
Yeah, depth in champion pool is something that Ubisoft definitely has. Of course, Balkan should be fine himself. We're yet to see him really push to his limits with champions, though.
Yeah, Balkan's had a pretty solid performance across the board. I mean, it's easy to say on a 5-1 team, but I do want to give some credit to him as, you know, was kind of an unknown quantity.
Unit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The only way I can explain him as a player, you watch him play League of Legends, you're like, this guy is an absolute loose unit. And he just has that look as well. Like, he doesn't... It's not that he doesn't care, but he's got that carefree look to him, you know?
Yeah. He cares like a small
He's
enough
a cool
amount
dude.
to be negligible. Sunglasses on.
Not like the Pokemon trainer cool dudes.
No,
like
those
an
are
actual cool dude.
No, those guys aren't actually cool. They're like very full of themselves. I'm not a big fan.
No, you're a human.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're a load-bearing stone.
You got me.
All right. Is this going to be Karthus Jungle this game? Ah, I really wanted to see it. I was just having some fun. I keep getting debated by hovers. You'd think after like 4.5 years of casting League of Legends, I was right all along. Ha-ha! It's Karthus.
Yeah, you were baited by the fact that they were hovering a million things and they went back to what they started with.
That was the long hover. You see, it's always the first thing they hover that they spend the most amount of time on that's likely to be the pick.
Yeah, you actually can see what they're thinking by the way they cycle, because it's subconscious. They're just picking random champions and the one they want in there. But anyway, Karthus will be locked in. Balkan, most likely recipient of the champion, doesn't know his matchup in the jungle, though. And they look in the Sejuani against it. And the way that I see Karthus is that he's the type of jungler that can be very heavily punished if two junglers meet at all.
Yeah, he's very frail, I think is the way to put him. And we have a lock-in of the Yasuo for Get Back, and now Bombers.
I would say that
the
is
answer with
throwing a gauntlet. If you were Get Back right now and you lock in a Yasuo blind, not knowing what your opponent's going to be, they went hard Direwolves and getting a really good combo here. They have a Braum Lucian with a Sejuani. That is like, just bring everyone down to the bottom lane and just smack them around, and it applies crowd control for you, and you have a great experience if you're hitting people. The weird thing about it as well is that it works in mid lane. You put a Sejuani and a Yasuo together, they're going to have a very good group of combos and ganks set up for their team composition overall. Bombers have gone for the mobility and the disengage route here, where they want to perhaps finesse their way through that hard force style that the Direwolves have put together.
Absolutely. Direwolves taking the same kind of composition we saw last game out of Legacy. We'll see if they have better success with it. But this is going to be a great POV stream, I feel. Like, you look at Get Back versus Ryoma, Yasuo versus LeBlanc, that is all about the finesse.
Absolutely. It's one of those matchups where if they can force a wind wall, the cooldown is so high on that wind wall, you just go on the second rotation if you are Ryoma. But definitely get your eyes peeled on that 1v1 mid matchup. It's exciting, it's explosive, and there's a very high chance that kills happen around that middle lane if the Direwolves have their way for certain.
Well, the Direwolves have definitely been able to play better than their record would suggest so far in this split. But up against Bombers, it is going to be a very, very tough task for sure. And joining us to talk a little bit more about the matchup is Bombers coach. It is Weston Wei. Thanks for joining us. Oh, looks like we're not quite live on the mic yet, so we'll give it a couple of seconds. Try again?
It's good. We're good.
Ah, we did it. Okay, cool. So let's just get right into this. I think Rusty made an interesting point during the draft phase. You picked Tahm Kench very, very early. What was the thought process behind that?
It was just like mainly for the composition which we were looking to build.
All right, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on it? Like, did you get the composition you wanted?
Yeah, we did. We were just looking to build team fighting composition this game, and you know, in terms of allowing FBI to, I guess, maximize its potential, the Tahm Kench allows us to do that.
And that's curious to me, right? When you highlight your opponent's composition against yours, if team fighting is a focus that you have, I would say that theirs is very much about brute forcing with their team fights. So does this feel like, you know, while you may be able to fight with this comp, you have to be very cautious and finesse your way through?
Yeah, it'll just be about how each team plays out the team fights, I guess. So yeah, the Tahm Kench is like really good when they are running like a lot of engage tools like that, and we kind of predicted them to do that, which is why we took the pick.
Okay, so definitely more about that 5v5. Are you concerned watching the last couple weeks of Direwolves play that they've consistently been able to kind of stall these games out lengthwise? Are you concerned about playing against that style of play compared to, you know, more like aggressive early in your face kind of thing?
I don't think so. I think, you know, in terms of the laning phase, we should still be able to get like a significant advantage out of it. And I think in terms of the Direwolves, they played kind of similar compositions both times in the performances, which they did quite well. And they didn't have access to those tools this week. So I guess it'll just see like whether they've actually like made significant improvement when they don't get those compositions they played last week.
And let's take a step back for a second as well from the drafts that are locked in on the Rift. For preparation for the Bombers side, does it change per team you're playing against, or have you got a very set routine that you guys go through? Is it just the day before you discuss the drafts? What exactly is a preparation look like for the Bombers squad?
So preparation for the Bombers is usually like quite internally focused. So we think about what kind of composition that we want to play and what kind of style we're playing. So we figure that out, you know, at the beginning of each week, and we have like several strategies which are kind of flexible depending upon what the opponents are playing, and then we just practice those over and over again until we are, I guess, proficient in them.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Western Way. Best of luck for the team.
Thank you very much.
And we are underway here on the Rift. It is, of course, just a couple minutes in, so we won't expect to see anything crazy early on, but I do want to keep an eye on that jungle matchup that you pointed out, Rusty, because of Balkan on this Karthus. I want to see if Udasov does start, you know, making aggressive moves into that jungle. He's going to need some assistance to do that because he can't always safely cross that river. But he does have Get Back, so I want to see how much this jungle mid synergy happens, even if it's not in mid lane.
You know, I'm a big fan of nicknames, Pyra, but I have a hard time wanting to ascribe nicknames to people who may not fully understand the context behind it.
How so?
Every time I look at Balkan, I just want to call him like the Loosey Goose jungler because he's just wild.
The loose
you know?
unit.
Yeah, but he won't get. I personally don't think he may understand loose unit or loose goose to the fullest of what I'm really trying to say.
Well, I mean, you can say it for the fans. I think they will, on the whole, get it. I mean, I don't understand most of what you say, but I just kind of nod my head.
I get that.
So, you know, I'm your target audience, I imagine.
Yeah, I would call Balkan the loose goose.
All right, let's go with that.
Or the goose on the loose.
I was about to say that's even better because we used to call Deficio the loose on the loose.
That's the reason I thought of it. Yeah.
And I think a loose goose is actually more dangerous. They are mean.
They are.
Have you met a wild goose?
They're very rude.
Yeah. Well, they honk at you, which is the definition of rudeness.
Yeah, that's actually true. You're not meant to honk at people when you're in a car. Of course, we should take a second and look at actually what's happening on the Rift, not just discuss gooses and honking.
It has been... Geese is the term you're looking for.
Sorry.
Andrew and Corporal
Goose-eye?
actually... That's my new Smurf. Yeah, they've been forcing back FBI and Rogue, but this, it is a defensive start, right? Like Kai'Sa early on isn't going to have the same kind of push power as Lucian, and you talked about the Braum is good into the Tahm Kench, but that's not what Bombers drafted this for. They want the 5v5, or at least they want a team fight. I always feel a little weird saying 5v5 when there's LeBlanc in mid.
Yeah, I think it's less about just, you don't go into the middle lane and say, all right, guys, we're going to hit a 5v5 from front to back against the Direwolves. Let's see how we go. Because the composition isn't all about that, as Direwolves getting ganked by Karthus.
Yeah, first start, there was the Wall of Pain. Andrew, a little bit of harassment, but no kill early on. Still,
yeah,
good moves by Balkan.
It's just a bit of poke, a bit of damage down in this lane. And, while it doesn't look like it's the best choice, what else was he meant to do on the map? His Gromp's about to spawn. It's the first thing that comes up on the map for him. And that's next to the Scuttle Crab on the bottom side. So his decision-making tree is that I can only really be bot side if I want to continue farming, and that's what a Karthus wants to do. So he goes down, he places a couple Skittles on the road and chunks him out a little bit, and then places a ward for his bot lane. It's actually a really impactful little move.
Do you like the Skittles' new look? On a totally unrelated note,
They have a new look.
Well, they used to just actually be like little orange Skittles.
I'm not allowed to eat them.
Ah, well, I wouldn't eat those if I were you either, because they do damage.
I didn't know that. Wait, Karthus got new Q look? Is that what you said?
It was a while back.
Oh.
Yeah, he got like a visual update and everything. That's why they're all like cool spell-looking things.
It doesn't look skittly anymore, actually.
No, yeah, because it used to just be like little... They looked like little like tiny explodey balls, and now they're like bigger explodey balls.
He's going again. It was the second gank you would say from Belcard as well, but really it's just about pressure. He's going to go back to his jungle, continue farming. He's already had a reset, so he's already on the map, ready to go once again. And you should expect to see a CS lead develop for the jungle position. He is a bulk of the strength. They'll hit level 6. He's always relevant then, right? He's always got that ultimate, so it's global pressure in 3 lanes, even if he is just farming. That's the big thing.
You look at how low some of the members on Direwolves are. There's always the threat of them being in lethal range. Biopanther actually does back TPs back up. Andrew and Corporal have been staying in this lane to not lose pressure, but you can see Andrew is on half his health bar.
But they don't have map pressure at all. They don't have priority in their lane. They're stuck under their turret. They're stuck being pushed into. So it still isn't the best case scenario for the Direwolves on the map. And that's the thing, Udisoft, he's on the Sejuani. He wants to hit level 6 for sure. They're a slow scaling jungler, but you're playing a slow scaling style of jungling against a Karthus who just has a field day in this situation. You've got an Urgot and you've got a LeBlanc as well. So if you think about the lanes being able to 1v1 themselves, that's possible when Karthus can just press R and influence it, get them to lethal range. For an Urgot, that's 25%.
Oh, you're definitely not wrong.
That's a strong composition that doesn't necessarily need to team fight and still has its strength there. And I think that's the big consideration we have to bring back to my initial point is that, it was mentioned by Western Wake, team fighting could be what they're looking at. And absolutely they could. But they have these other opportunities outside of team fighting that can cause disarray. Stun may be on here.
Oh, there's the flash. FBI preemptively. He knew that Andrew was nearly in range. Still level 5, so no culling comes out from him. But FBI, kind of caught out pushing a little bit while Rogue was there. And Get Back is going to survive through the Requiem.
Yeah, the way of the wind a little bit too strong there, though. It's nice pressure on that middle lane. He has to recall for certain, but chooses not to.
It's a big wave. You don't want to miss out on that, and Ryoma doesn't push it.
Yeah, but it means that Udisoft has to hover. They don't know that Udisoft has no health. They just know that he could be near mid lane. That's why Get Back is staying. So that's assumed knowledge. And unfortunately for the Bombers, because he wants to go get that blue buff, they don't get to harass him under the wave, under the turret, and he will be able to pick all of that up.
Yeah.
Well, what he can.
Most of it up. Still got to be careful, though. Ryoma, he gets his blue buff meanwhile, so he's going to be able to regen a lot. Udisoft is here. Level 6, but half his health bar. This is a little dangerous. Windwall comes out early. Ryoma's going to back away.
Yeah, this is just a forced recall, I think. This is not the gank chief. They're going to... The risk is they both die doing this. Karthus is nearby. Ryoma might take the 1v2.
Looks like it. That is not the wisest decision, but he does dash out. Now Balkan coming back in. Ryoma tags back forward once again. Wall of Pain, Get Back, caught a little out here, trying to dash his way to freedom, but it doesn't look like it's going to go through. Flashing forward, tries to get that execution. First blood picked up by Ryoma. Close call for Get Back.
Definitely was. Belkan still nearby, of course, so he's going to get enough of the damage down. Ryoma didn't really hit a single spell until the very end either, so it looked nice. The fancy feet were there from the Direwolves, and Ryoma was having a bad day, but he's always got someone nearby. He had the blue buff, he had full health, and it was just a simple execute from them in the end.
Mid-jungle synergy, very important. Udasov, all that patience amounts to nothing. First blood going the way of Bombers as well as the gold lead. We'll check back in at top because BioPanther really getting chunked out, and he's forced to pain train away. He's the one feeling that pain.
Yeah, no teleport there for BioPanther either. Urgot is still going to press up. You have to recall, man.
This is a little greedy.
I don't know if he can. I feel like he won't get dove, perhaps. He just wants this cannon wave. Wants to recall and prevent the damage. What?
Yeah, he canceled it. That was weird.
Fair enough.
All right. There we go.
I forgot you could cancel it.
Yeah.
Just
Now,
looked funny.
Mimic does not have Fear Beyond Death, so he's not in any danger of getting chewed up here.
No, and there's no mana on the Urgot. He's forcing the wave in so that it can reset back towards him. In fact, this wave, now that it pushes forwards with 2 ranged minions, if you're Mimic, you just leave it and recall, if you ask me. But he's going to choose to push... No, he is. He's going to leave them. So what that does, now that he's actually done it, I can talk about it, is it starts to generate a bigger wave that pushes towards him. So when he comes back to the lane, he'll have all the minions prepped for him to take straight away, gets a bigger influx of golden experience, and that really puts pressure on a Scion with no ult or teleport, who can't actually clear it out in time.
Ooh. Second chain on. Oh, this is looking bad for Get Back. Ryoma made that look way too easy.
Yeah, just solo killed out there, of course. No cleanse, no flash. Get Back going to have a pretty bad time if the chains ever hit. He's taken down, so easy peasy. LeBlanc gets kills in mid lane, and that is the beginning of the potential undoing of the Direwolves when you think about a fed LeBlanc and what it can provide with a Karthus in a team comp.
Yeah, I wonder what Yasuo's horoscope is, because I think the unlucky month is clearly February.
March came early for him.
This is definitely not looking so good for Get Back right now, as he still doesn't have access to summoner spells. His cleanse will just come off cooldown. But Ryoma, 2 kills on LeBlanc, has had some attention from Balkan. Starting to look really good now, and every lane from Bombers is having a good time at the moment. There was an early, I almost want to say call for concern, but just barely on the bottom lane, but it really didn't amount to much. It was just FBI being a little too far forward when he didn't have a support. But now he's getting free shots at the turret plating, and Balkan and Ryoma can double team on this Cloud Drake.
They get
So
free
they got a
shots
little
to the
more.
Dragon. So they'll get that one. No contest available. Now, the question you have to ask yourselves if you're the Direwolves is, what can we do to stay on this map and have a win condition? You know, what is our point of power going into the mid game that keeps us in it and doesn't let the Bombers walk away with the game? And right now, it is not going to be a Yasuo. You know, he is too far gone. He's had to rush Merc Treads. Doesn't have a crit item yet. He is well and truly up creek without a paddle. Ubisoft just went towards the top side, but if you ask me, you have to put some real alarms on and say we need to make a play bottom. You've got the Braum Sedge that we talked about. Braum Lucian can almost guarantee a stun if they use summoner spells for it. Then you just bring down the Sedge to follow through, and there's also a Scion here with ultimate.
Yeah, they're here.
I feel like this is the set play.
Ooh, Get Back still trying his luck here. Actually, he's got some damage on. Does he pick the right LeBlanc? No, but he does force the flash. And now we're going to check in at the bottom. You can see the Scion train coming through. Rogue flashes early. They're going to focus the Tahm Kench and blow him up before he can pop the Grey Health. Mimic cannot cancel on that TP, and he gets chunked out immediately. Permafrost on. They're going to take him down. Corporal going golden, dodging out from that Requiem, and it's 1, 2, 3 kills for the Wolfpack.
And just like that, the Direwolves bring themselves back into the game. It's not even just the pick. It's all of the kills in that area and a teleport from Mimic trying to save his team. That's a turret that should actually, or could be, heavily chunked out if they wanted to. They're going to choose to reset. They'll take the gold influx they've got, and suddenly we ask the question, what is that win condition? Well, now you've got one.
That was actually beautiful from the Direwolves. And, you know, you could argue maybe you wanted more kills on the Lucian, but at this point, you needed something to happen, and this is how you get back into it. They target priority. They know they can't get FBI as easily because of the Urgot, and immediately they turn their attention to, or excuse me, due to the Tahm Kench, they turn their attention to him. FBI tries to get the execution. Not going to happen.
And part of me wants to say that's either, you know, not thinking about the stopwatch or very much disrespecting it if you're FBI in that case. They wanted a kill, perhaps they wanted a trade, but there wasn't a way with stopwatch available that they would be getting Corporal, especially if they time a Kai'Sa ultimate with the Karthus ult. He blocks all of the damage with a single spell press. And that gives them the third kill as well, gives them the kill lead. And Bombers, upon seeing this advantage or this, you know, amount of effort exerted towards a play on the bot side, they immediately swap lanes. They go top lane and then try and break the plating to keep them ahead in tempo in this game. They swap first.
Well, it's not answered by Direwolves either. Instead, they're going to opt to try and take the reverse lanes for now and play into Mimic on that bottom side. Andrew and Corporal get back. He's been showing he can still play up against this LeBlanc, but he does have to be a little bit careful. There is still a level advantage for Yoma. He has blue buff.
It's hard. Like mentioned, you know, it's very much reliant on having a wind ball to dodge spells, or you have to just physically dodge the chains.
Ooh, we in for another dive here. Udasoft, okay. He's backed away.
That's a great hover by Balkan, more than anything else. Prevents the 1v3, prevents them from even getting the push or damage or even chip damage onto the turret. And then meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Biopanther, he's a tanky boy. He does buy a lot of time, but it's at the cost of his HP as he doesn't have a jungler hovering. And he revealed himself bottom, Udisoft. That turret will fall. It's just a matter of when, not if, when you look at this top lane. Whereas on the bottom side, they stopped it completely.
Yeah, it looks like the swap will come through here, though, because Andrew and Corporal back away immediately start making a beeline up towards the top. Andrew, you might just want to call this wave. Get back. Oh, that's low. Force the flash out immediately. Still, that 1v1 threat is clear, and unfortunately for Get Back, you know, he's just kind of hoarding daggers at this point. He's not really got a whole lot else going for him in terms of items.
He's also behind in levels as well. Roma may get to 12 before he even gets 2 points in his ultimate. Things are very dire in that middle lane for Get Back. And it's as simple as controlling a 1v1 that enables this damage now to come down. Once again, forces Udisoft to show himself on the map, which doesn't help their 2v2 that have some control. Real rough, actually, for the Direwolves. Just from, I would almost say it's individual skill or individual pressure. But draft does have to come into consideration for it.
That's true. Direwolves definitely, apart from the bottom lane, may not have had the advantages in laning priority. But they are holding out. Like, they're not letting this gold lead go a whole lot farther than it already has. And I think that's a big credit to the Wolfpack. Again, it is a team of young players, most of them coming up from the OCS, up against Bombers, who are the team that were kind of expected to be at this tip-top level and have delivered throughout the first 6 games of their OPL split.
Andrew really wanted that ward.
He got
really
it.
wanted to place one near where Balkan was and took about 300 damage from a single Q is the price, but he has lifesteal.
Hello, Udasoft.
Things not looking good in mid lane, but top lane an opportunity does present itself. No Biopanther this time, but also no teleport for Mimic, where there is one for Bio.
That's fair. And now Udasoft, I think Bombers probably had to know he was there.
Oh, there's a ward in the third bush.
There's a ward in the third bush, but even though he was in the forward brush, even assuming they hadn't spotted him, which I think you're probably right they did, they just knew that he wasn't around the map. Like, he shouldn't have any jungle available to him. He's not in our jungle, so where's he? Oh, he's going to be in the bush up top. Game context matters. So Udasoft will back away. Direwolves have been good at securing their own vision in neutral territories, though. Some credit to them. Over by the Rift Herald, they've got quite a few wards down. Is this going to be Udasoft actually trying to sneak it? He's going to start it off.
Yeah. I mean, he may just try and trade sides of the map, assume that Balkan is on bot side giving blue. Perhaps that's a timing that they look towards. And, of course, the dragon is about to be started, it seems.
Ooh, Get Back is playing with fire.
And it's about playing to where you're strong on the map as well. You know, for Udisoft, he wants to be playing towards the top side. He wants to be playing towards the Lucian Braum. And though Yasuo can't provide a whole host of wave control at all, he still has that lane that can rotate first. And that seems to be enough to get them this objective.
Oh, Ryoma went forward. I don't know if he was trying to get the steal off or just get an execution.
Felt like a cheeky steal attempt.
But he doesn't get it. Instead, this does pay dividends for Direwolves. So now with the Rift Herald sitting on Udasoft, we'll see where he decides to place it. Mid lane should be pretty primed to knock down here. So yeah, immediately, no time wasted. Balkan's come to answer.
Perhaps the timing is right on this play. There's not going to be any minions that they can escort Shelly. Work it out, Herald. Yeah, there we go.
There's been some weird... Ooh, okay. Nice knock up on the tornado. So Shelly doesn't get the execution off. Bombers very quickly react. It's like
they want it.
Hornet's nest here in the mid lane. They just stirred it up, and Udasoft flashing away, not before he takes too much damage. Chewed back in. No Requiem required. The silent killer is Mimic.
Yeah, the comm's not perhaps very clear in that the Urgot had the kill and pulls him back before Karthus ults, yet the timings were synchronized, so they secure the kill nonetheless. And there is some damage used onto the rest of the members of the Direwolves. Bombers should be able to get this mid lane outer turret now uncontested. And it was a reset from the Direwolves when all of this happens. When all's said and done, that summoning of the Herald in mid lane wasn't really a set play. It was an opportunistic moment, and a Tahm Kench gets there very quick, and they're able to capitalize, as was Mimic.
Yeah, no, that was a great play, a great response by Bombers. And normally when a team pops a Rift Herald, you'd think they're going to be the ones committing to the lane that they put it in. Instead, it's a complete reversal from Bombers. They pick up a tower, they pick up kills, and now they've started to grow this gold lead. It is 3,000 ahead, not to mention a Cloud Drake. That certainly had something to do with them being able to mobilize fast.
You know, 3,000 gold maybe not as significant as they would have liked, Bombers, at this stage of the game, and giving those 3 kills over to their opponents in the Direwolves at this play that happened bottom has hurt them a little bit. You know, a bit of extra gold now goes into the pocket of Biopanther. The damage done to that turret was already enough that he just comes down and picks it up later. Like, they have got points in the map where you would say perhaps they're stronger than they even should have been.
And that does seem to be Direwolves. It's not that they're stalling for 50 minutes by doing nothing. It's that they are finding ways to minimize gains by the opposite teams. And they've done this against the best in the league so far. So it is no surprise they can do this against Bombers, who are, you know, also considered to be one of the better teams in the league. Big credit to Direwolves that they are consistently able to, even though they're a few paces behind in what ends up being this big marathon, they're still keeping pace.
They're very good at denying things from their opponents for certain. You know, it's slowing down the pace of the game is something that they absolutely excel at, and so is denying vision, denying control, denying opportunities. But when we look at opportunities, there's one here.
Yes, there is. Corporal gonna try and intercept the Tahm Kench, or it's Tahm Kench that's intercepting him, and he's gonna get left for dead. Tries to hop to his AD carry, but he's going nowhere. Mimic has the securing of the kill.
And there's
Balcon's
the trade-off
on the bottom side with the Dragon as well.
Yeah, so they'll match objectives, top lane turret for a Dragon. You've got Bio pushing bot lane, may need to be answered soon. Direwolves trying to pressure 2 places at once.
Uh-oh, Udasoft, he chases forward. All of a sudden, I don't think he was expecting that many members of Bombers to come through, and he's going to be dead. So is Get Back. Oh, it's a little ugly in that mid lane if you're a Direwolves fan.
But where else would they be?
Yeah.
They're not going to do Baron at 20 minutes on Spawn like that.
Well, Bombers are. Now, anyways.
The kills are secured. Yeah, you're right. Now they may look towards it. I still think doing this is fairly risky. There's an opportunity for the Scion to ult on in. They'll lose some health. They'll lose some resistances at the buff. Never mind.
Yeah, okay. This is totally fine. This is fine.
Oh.
This is very fine if you're Bombers. They're going to take a Baron at 21 minutes. Okay.
Biopanther with a celebratory wall headbutt. Unfortunately, at the end there was trying to hunt Ryoma, but he was already across the wall.
So
things have just gone from bad to worse.
Minimizing losses, definitely not happening in the last 2 minutes.
Well, this is where I would actually, you know, draw comparisons to last week for the Direwolves. They're not just minimizing anything. They are actually looking. They are hunting for moments, and credit to them. I think that is a good thing to do. I don't know if you go at a very slow pace in a 50-minute team fight, you can beat someone like the Bombers. You know, I think that every team has limits, and perhaps at that point, your Bombers are regarded as some of the best in their role, in every role. And taking that 50-minute fight may not be worth it. So they try and accelerate just a little bit. But by doing that, by speeding up the game and accelerating the game state, they've made mistakes. And that's what's immediately picked up on by their opponents.
And it's allowed Ryoma to pick up another kill as well. And this is starting to get a little scary because you've got the Fed LeBlanc that you have to be aware of. That can also be on any side lane, at any time, anywhere. I mean, the Bombers are a very speedy team. It's not just the Dragon. They're just very mobile. And Ryoma goes forward, he goes back, he forces the Direwolves away. This is going to result in another turret for Bombers. The Wrecking Squad's here.
Yeah, and the gold lead will start to grow from this position. Baron does enable a lot of their strengths. They've got a bot lane turret that falls. Top lane's being prepared by Ryoma for the rest of the map to get here as soon as they can. They'll just start to accelerate this gold lead at a rapid pace, at a pace that the Direwolves can't keep up with by any means. There's no minimizing a Baron push. Oh god, it's happening again. They're being so pressured into making plays that they're making mistakes.
And this is where you see some of that inexperience kind of coming through. Direwolves, for how well they have been playing, are still a very young team coming out of the secondary league here, the OCS. A lot of them anyways, and it's a very different squad than the 4-time defending champions Direwolves that we saw last year.
Oh, for sure.
Bomber's going to be pushing this one in. Here comes Ryoma, looking for Andrew. Oh, he's got him chunked down immediately.
So
Mimic's not even joining the team. You could just keep pushing. They can 4-1 for a while still.
Yeah, and I don't think Biopanther can even step up and try and body them off the wave. You know, I don't know how he does that without just a full-on engage, and you know, they don't have a Sejuani to do that.
Yeah.
Requires something extra from the Direwolves. They have to reach really deep. They have to find the opportunity as it happens. They cannot waste time.
There we go. They're going to flip the Scion. Biopanther, nowhere for him to really go except Golden for 1 second. Cullen comes out of Andrew, and FBI stepping forward to make the play, but maybe Direwolves find something in here unless Ryola finds it first. He goes in, he goes out, he's ignited. Here's the Requiem. Corporal going forward to try and get one last Winter's bite before he goes. But Bombers, that is the opening they needed to break into this base right now. Inhibitor 1 is going to fall a second, sure to, if they can finish off this tower, and they make it look oh so easy. We're getting close to that 25-minute mark. And it looks like Balkan's going to be forced to flash away as Udasov's still sticking to him.
Just feels all too easy so far from the Bombers, pushing in, pressuring their opponents out. It's as simple as Mimic getting a flip on the Urgot, and then the base is broken. We just spoke about it. How possible is it for a Sign to try and body away their respective opponents? I said it's not possible, and now you can see the proof in the pudding there as well. He just has to run away, uses his ult, uses the stopwatch to disengage, and they still lose the fight. They lose a member, and an inhibitor falls. Disaster so far from the Direwolves.
And Bombers just have so many cleanup tools, right? Like, you've got the Fear Beyond Death, you've got the Requiem. There are so many ways to make sure that these close fights will go in Bombers' favor. And it's even bigger considering, like, you know, we're now getting into 50-50s or more like 60-40s or 70-30s at this point. Direwolves are playing admirably, but they're too far behind to make it happen, and this is allowing things like this. Ryoma, waiting and baiting. Here he goes. Steal away the red buff.
Just wants the red, though. Doesn't even look for the kills. There's a lot of Direwolves nearby, but he respects, and he'll back away. The rest of his team grouping up now in the middle lane. And yeah, we spoke about some of the perhaps growing pains the Direwolves have experienced, but credit to the Bombers. They've picked it up quickly the second they made a mistake.
Oh. Wait, check back the fight. Ryoma. We're watching Ryoma for nothing. All right, they're on to Mimic right now, but there's just no damage for the Direwolves here. Udasov get back, forced to run away, and this is going real pear-shaped real fast here. Udasov left from the rest of his team, chained in by Mimic and Bombers. The train keeps on rolling. Get back takes a last breath, but it's going to be his own. FBI with the kill, and now it's Bombers chasing the Wolves down the line. Rogue swallows up Corporal. FBI finishes him off. And they're going to teleport into the Nexus.
Yeah, with the teleports, there should be game here for the Bombers for sure. 2 teleports. They want to kill Biopanther before they even end the game. They're going to make the Direwolves suffer just a little bit longer.
Pad those KDAs, and it looks like that's going to be the ace. Onto the base they go. FBI picking up kills left, right, and center at the very end there. So it isn't just the Ryoma show, but the Bombers flying high this game. And by the definition of Spawn, it wouldn't be a shellacking, Rusty. But I have to say, 26.5 minutes, that is one hell of a convincing win.
Only one moment, really, you can look at in a game like this and say that the Direwolves made a good play and picked up on the Bombers there. It wasn't even that the Bombers made something desperately wrong and it was picked up by their opponents. The rest of the game from the Bombers was clean. They shaped up immediately. They said no more from the side of the Direwolves. And just like that, 26.5 minutes, they kill the Nexus.
Yeah, and I want to go back to a point that you made in the last game, actually, to draw a little bit of parallels about a style of play of forcing mistakes. That's exactly what Bombers did. You know, they proactively searched for moments to get in there. So did Direwolves, but Bombers made sure that 9 times out of 10, those moves were going to end in failure for the Wolves.
Yeah, and we said this for Legacy, right? Like, I respect that Legacy took risks in their draft phase, perhaps some risks in their play as well, but with the Direwolves, they took similar decisions. They were picked up, again, very aggressively by their opponents in the Bombers, who handled them well, but they still took those opportunities, and that's different from the Direwolves that we saw last week. And when you're against the best team, and remember that the last game and this game were tied first against tied 7th in the standings. Like, these are really hard games to win for those 7th place teams. That these are the games where you take those risks, you know, because you have to do something wild or you will just get walked over.
No, I think that's fair. Direwolves, you know, still only 1 win. It is early in the season, but they've now wrapped their first round robin of the 3 that will be in the regular split. So you have to try to make these bold plays, even against some of the best teams, in hopes of surprising them. But Bombers played it calm, cool, and collected for the most part, and weren't phased.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we saw anything extraordinary out of the Bombers. They just played a good game of League of Legends, and similarly to the one before, they were able to fairly convincingly win as a result.
Yeah, no surprises there. Well, let's see what the couch has to say about that one.
I mean, we're just burning through tonight. We are just. I was prepared to sit back for a maybe 2-hour Direwolf game.
Yeah.
We're just kicking on.
Yeah.
Again, just decisive. Although I will say that first 15 minutes, Direwolves looked as though they were doing what they wanted, which was slow the game down.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually impressed by Direwolves' early game, to be honest. They look like they were just, farming up the lanes. That play on bottom lane where they sent Sion as well as Sejuani down there.
Down.
4-man gank, that'll work 100% of the time against FBI and Rogue. They like to shoot a couple of minions down there and probably get caught out a little bit.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, you got to applaud kind of the class of everyone on the Bombers because all of a sudden you spend too many resources top lane. Maybe gets 2 free waves, has an experience lead for the rest of the game, runs over the map as a tank, and Ryoma just stuck in an isolated 1v1 is, a very scary mid laner on an assassin. And I don't think that if I was anyone, I would take an assassin into the assassin matchup versus Tommy and Get Back did, and please never do it again.
Yeah, I think I do want to, instead of being positive, Paul, we can be a little bit negative, about the victors here. Bombers, I feel like their comp, I'm still confused about the stuff that they're doing. I feel like Rogue, FBI, blind pick Tahm Kench is weird. I think LeBlanc with Karthus jungle is certainly weird. And their comp, we were talking about Direwolves early game was fairly good. They were making good plays. It's not like Bombers had a comp that's just going to go into the early game and smack you around. Karthus just does nothing. If he's farming his camps and being non-interactive, his early game plan was farm camps and throw a Q at 2 waves, right? Volcan had what ended up being probably for him, I'm not saying he played poorly, but an underwhelming Karthus game because he just farmed a bunch of minions, ulted a couple of times, and it didn't eventuate into anything. So they had this scaling comp when it came online, it mattered. But it by no means was like a stomp or anything.
Because there's 2 ways you play scaling comps, right? A little bit of education here, because I don't think there was much to take out of that game. But you can play Caitlyn. She scales beautifully into the late game, right? One of the best AD carries. You can play it with something like a Braum, Targon support. You can gain priority. That's scaling, but at least has a pushing lane. You're playing Kai'Sa Tahm Kench. You're denied priority because Lucian Braum's always going to be able to push into you in that lane. They have the kill threat. You have Yasuo. He also naturally pushes the lane in an equal skill matchup. I feel like Yasuo should be able to get priority. Sion also can fight for priority against Urgot. So if they had a more aggressive jungler, something like a Kindred, something like a Lee Sin, that Karthus would have just been farmed. Legitimately, you could have just invaded whatever side of the map you had priority on and absolutely beat the Karthus. But they just didn't. And this is where I will applaud the Bombers because I do think that there is a part of the game where you do have to think what is the other team going to do? And what have we seen against Direwolves? They're not going to take all the risks.
Yeah.
So why not lock in Karthus? He's the best 6-item jungler in the game. He hits R and takes 3/4 of everyone's health bar at the moment. If they're going to play low interactive style League of Legends with tank junglers, play Karthus every single game. They're not going to punish it.
Because, maybe Western Way is lying. Maybe in his interviews, this is a bold claim, and it's kind of roundabout.
I mean, he did change his name, so maybe it is.
Maybe, because he's
in disguise.
Because he's our preparation is very internal. We focus on what we want to do, that sort of stuff. But he's coming in, it's Direwolves, they're a slow team. This is based on them. We could just blind pick Tahm Kench, play Karthus, who cares? Bro, we're just going to scale it up.
85% of your prep should be about your team and what you're going to play.
Yeah.
But you're an idiot if you don't account for what the enemy team is going to do.
I agree. Sorry, fun boys.
Wow. I don't know, dude.
85% of the prep is that the other 15% is thinking up a new name to head into the next week of the OPL. But someone who hasn't changed their name, it's FBI, is sitting with Pyro.
All right, well, let's investigate that a little bit more. The the couch was talking a lot about your draft, and it did feel like you focused so heavily on early game defensiveness. Did you do that because it was not expecting the Direwolves to go ham early?
Honestly, I don't think our draft really went as we prepared. I think there was a lot of spontaneous lock-ins, which kind of made the draft a bit weird. I think I think the Karthus was good. I think when I picked Kai'Sa, I think I picked it third. I should have just played Ezreal there, and then the 1-3-1 would be pretty good, and we'd also have probably would have picked a Camille or something later into the draft. But yeah, because I think I just spontaneously wanted to play Kai'Sa, so but I think the draft just went.
Was that just the AD carry instincts? You're we could 1-3-1, or I could make the big plays this game.
It's kind of like what Jake said. I kind of thought, I just randomly had a thought. Direwolves do play pretty slow. If I just play Kai'Sa and we just scale up, I think this game should be pretty free. Yeah. Although we did kind of in early game bot. So.
Well, you turned it around. That's good. But yeah, even more on that though with the AD carry choice. When you have just in general, just as a player, when you have something like a Tahm Kench already picked up, does that give you an added amount of security where you're just well, I can play whatever because I'm never gonna die.
Yeah, for sure. I think Tahm Kench really diversifies the champions that I can play bot lane because he's such a defensive support. I can literally play any AD with Tahm and probably get away with lane. So having Tahm Kench, it really expands my champion pool, which makes it so that I can probably drop late into the draft, which makes the Kai'Sa pick even make less sense. So, yeah.
Well, it still works out at the end of the day. Now, so you guys are still sitting atop the OPL. Is there a team that you've really got your eyes on that you think is going to be your biggest challenge throughout the rest of the regular split?
I think I'd have to say Chiefs, honestly. They beat us like during OPL, so yeah, I'd have to say Chiefs are definitely looking to be the strongest team that we'd have to face, in my opinion. Yeah.
All right, we'll see when that matchup happens once again. Now back over to the couch to break it down further.
Hey, it's us. Now look, you guys are both very successful.
I like where this is going so far.
Yeah, because you're Year of the Rooster. This is how you get your strokes.
Too much.
You're very successful OPL personalities, players, coaches,
Players?
owners. Well, no, him.
Yeah, him.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just roll with me, Jake.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm wondering where this is going. I get nervous when you compliment us.
I'm saying that I'm replacing your entire team. There are people out there, though, who may want to play some competitive League of Legends. They may want to do something level up, you know, beyond just a 5-man stack heading into a game just against randoms. You want something a little more organized, and League of Legends can help you do that with the High School League.
Oh, okay, that's where we're going.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Goodness.
We took some turns there.
What did you think I was going to say?
I have no idea.
Like I was going to invite some of them onto order as like a temporary solution.
I thought you were going to be like, I don't know, like the couch is no longer a needed segment, so you can leave or something.
You can leave now. You've achieved everything. But you guys, if you want to achieve more, you can check out the High School League. In Australia or New Zealand, you just need to get your teacher to go to LeagueOfLegends.com, and there's a high school page there, and just register, and then you get to be part through your school, be able to compete against other people across the country on behalf of your state or territory. And there is the finals that are happening in the Melbourne Esports Open.
And you got to find your cool teacher. Everyone at school
That's
had a
so
cool teacher. My home group teacher or care group or whatever you want to call it, his name was Mr. Garland.
Is that
whenever
where you
I had,
start?
yeah, that's where you start your day, where they do like
Okay.
roll call and stuff. Whenever I was in RE, he used to come knock on my door because it was his free period, and he used to say, sorry, I need to borrow Jake. And we used to go play basketball. He was a cool teacher.
That's a cool teacher.
He was a cool
My teacher did
teacher.
the same thing. That's
Yeah.
really weird.
You had a basketball teacher
yeah,
as well?
we did the Kokoda Trail together, but he was also my basketball coach and
wow.
teacher that would play with me after school. So
Yeah.
My cool teacher was called Mr. Jones, and he used to be a stand-up comedian. And so he would just eviscerate everyone, every class. Like you did anything, and he basically just like shred you to pieces.
is it weird how influenced we are by those teachers as well? Like, just with
Well,
where
I don't
we've
play
ended up?
any basketball, so that makes sense.
That was where I was going. You got me. Yeah.
That's what you meant. All right. Speaking of knowing where we're going, let's check out some more horoscopes. Yeah, that's right. We got you up next.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'm excited about this.
Surely
So,
it can't be worse than
Let's
mine.
bring up Spawn's horoscope now. Year of the Horse.
The goodest boy?
the goodest boy.
That feels like maybe that was a typo. I don't know. That doesn't feel like how anyone who has ever met you would describe you as the goodest boy.
Anyway, let's continue. Year of the Horse.
Yeah.
read
Read
it.
yourself out.
Am I supposed to read it?
Yeah, yeah.
Horses are free spirits.
I'm sorry,
who
I need you to
space
read
of-
it like a horse.
Horses are free spirits who need space to be themselves. This is an excellent year for horses, with rising fortunes, blossoming romance, and potential for growth, as well as the Melbourne race worth $1.6 million where you get to pick the horses. I think it's called the All-Star Mile. Anyway, you may encounter the additional stress this year. Pay attention to your health and do not ignore your symptoms, as they could worsen into serious illness.
Yeah, like a
Great,
man.
I'm gonna die.
You are, because there's going to be a man sitting on you, whipping you for our entertainment.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you've got a new romance on the horizon. I mean, it's bad news for your partner, but
My karma. Is that what it said? New romance.
it said blossoming romance.
Yeah.
Well, blossoming. Like, I don't know. Maybe generally rekindle sparks.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
11 years, I think,
You know,
actually.
You got a kid?
One day I will propose to her.
You can't get that wrong.
This is getting real.
She's not going to be happy
This is
about
getting
that
real
one.
hot on this. Is anyone else hot in this room? Can we get the air conditioning put down a little bit?
Now, I don't know if Jenna's watching, but that could be about proposals, is all I'm saying. Like, if you interpret
The idea
horoscopes
is
that
out
way.
there now.
I don't know if Jenna's watching, but as far as I'm concerned, that was his proposal. So So take it as you want. And then, but you've got new good fortune, I believe, was on the horizon. That could be
Fingers
good
crossed,
news.
because I've just built a house. So if I don't have good fortune, I'm gonna have to give it back to the bank.
That would be very bad. All right, well, we're all rooting for you and your new partner and your saddest proposal.
Existing partner, Jenna, I love you.
Well, do you? I don't know. You would have said it beforehand unless I prompted you. So let's look at my horoscope. I'm excited to see what the future holds for me. Am I the goodest boy? Let's find out. Year of the Tiger. I'm nothing, apparently. I'm just a blank man. Tigers are courageous and active people who love a good challenge and adventure in life. In 2019, all the effort of the previous year will bear fruit. Take advantage and push yourself to new heights. A potential downfall this year will come in the form of a jealous co-worker. A hand that lifted you up may also serve to stab you in the back.
This is dangerous.
Yeah.
Yikes.
You've been warned.
That's a
This
yikes
is-
from me.
I mean, the hand is definitely going to belong to the goodest boy. There's no way it's not, unless Bryce finally snaps.
Also,
like
reaching
we all
new
know he's
heights.
going to.
You're gonna
Sooner or
die.
later.
Attack of
Reaching
the
new
Chico
heights, how
roll.
tall are you going to be? Because you're already the tallest member of
That's
the
true.
casting team.
That's
by
true.
a long way. I mean, ever since we picked up Pyra,
By a long way, Bryce.
What
That's
is
right.
this? I'm dragging the
We
average down.
ever since
literally
we
just
picked
had
up
this
Pyra-
conversation.
Yeah.
He is barely taller than me.
Bryce,
And
ever
yet,
since you lost all
he
that
is.
muscle, you've become shorter again. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, so yeah, new heights. Maybe
that how
for
that
like
works?
another 2 inches.
That could be very exciting. I'm glad that all the work I put into motion last year is going to pay off. Most of that work was to get out of this job. So that apparently is going to pay off in the form of getting stabbed.
No,
in
it's,
the
it's
back
gonna
by
it's gonna
someone who
bear
works there.
fruit. See?
He tossed a banana and I caught it for Bailey. Can dogs eat bananas?
I don't
just gonna
think.
say that.
You know what?
There you go, buddy.
Don't eat it.
You like that?
Oh god.
Oh boy.
And then we cut to Bailey's horoscope and it says you're going to choke on a banana. That's weirdly specific. All right. Speaking of weirdly specific, let's
snatch
get
the
into...
banana?
Oh, Bailey does
Hey!
it!
Oh, this is the year of the goodest boy.
Bailey, can
Who
you
does
read
the
this?
best dog impression? All right, Jake does it. Let's
Jake.
take it away, mate.
Those born in the year of the goodest boy are loyal, energetic, and extremely handsome. Every year is favorable to good boys, and their good fortune is likely to rub off on those around them.
This is their fur in summer.
Their future contains bountiful treats, long walks, and tummy rubs on demand. Actually, he gets all of these things. What I will have you know is Bailey is by far the highest maintenance crew member of the OPL.
For sure.
Every single game, he goes out for a walk, gets to use a bathroom. He has treats on demand. He has a bodyguard in the form of T-Gun. And he just wanders up to people, and every single person, apart from Rusty, gives him whatever he wants.
That's
Rusty had a staring contest with Bailey over
I
a pie.
won. I'll have
Everyone
you know.
else would have just given him the whole pie.
You won.
Yeah. At my house, I have 3 dogs. One of them is very overweight, and it's not because we feed her too much. It's an autoimmune problem. But that
All
means
right. I mean,
that,
this is a family show.
but
Let's
that
keep
means
it
we
light and fun.
can't feed the dog too much, right? Because
Yep.
she'll just put on kilos. So I'm very good at not feeding dogs is the point that I'm getting at here. And I won that staring battle, I'll have you know.
I fed the dog a banana 10 seconds ago. So
And he's eating it all. Look, there's no banana to be seen.
There you
and
go.
now he's having a nap.
All right. Well, I wish we were all like that. The only thing I'm going to say is it would be interesting if anyone else gets that, because like everyone who's born in the year of the tiger gets the same horoscope. You know, if Bryce was born in the year of the goodest boy or whatever it was, then he's in for like a whole year of tummy rubs.
The year of the goodest boy is the only year without a downside so far. Everybody else has had a downside.
That's a very good
So
point.
Bailey's bloody on the up and up.
Although I guess you could say that the downside of the year of the goodest boy is if he has a Twix bar, he dies. So that seems pretty bad.